Welcome, dear child, to the Grandma Archive. Today you will be Jaromira, a Czech painter who abandoned galleries to live inside the machine's dreams. You will learn how the death of the author became the birth of something older than art itself. You're 23 years old, and you're standing in a Prague gallery with white walls and polished concrete floors. Your paintings hang there, 6 of them, oil on linen, each one depicting the same cathedral from a different, impossible angle. A collector from Vienna touches your elbow and says the brushwork is authentic, truly authentic. You smile because you know what that word means in his mouth. It means expensive. It means he can trace it back to your hand, your name, your body, your biography. You sell 3 paintings that night, and the money feels like a lock clicking shut. You see, dear one, the art market has always been a machine for turning feelings into property. In 2022, that market was worth $67.8 billion, built on scarcity and signature and provenance. Every brushstroke authenticated is a brushstroke owned. For 5 years, you paint and sell, paint and sell. The galleries want consistency. They want the Jaromira style, repeatable, recognizable, a brand you wear like skin. You begin to hate the smell of linseed oil. Then in August 2022, a man named Jason Allen enters a painting made with Midjourney into the Colorado State Fair. He wins first place in digital arts. The internet screams. You sit alone in your studio and feel something crack open in your chest. Not anger, but curiosity. Jason Allen submits an AI-generated image called Théâtre d'Opéra Spatial to a state fair competition. The judges award it first place, and a controversy erupts across the art world. This single event splits opinion into 2 camps, those who see AI as theft and those who see it as liberation. You download Stable Diffusion that same week because Stability AI has released the full model weights openly to the world. This is not a product behind a paywall. This is the raw engine, the mathematical soul of image making given away like bread. You type words into a prompt box and watch cathedrals bloom from nothing. They are wrong. The windows melt into the stone. Fingers on figures have 7 joints, but something in those errors makes you lean closer to the screen, not away from it. I want you to understand something about those errors, about those melting windows. A critic named L.M. Sakasas said AI errors are insignificant, that they signify nothing. But I think he was looking at the wrong thing. The glitch is the ghost of the medium itself, the only honest part of the image. You begin to paint over the outputs. You print them large, stretch them on frames, and take your oils to the broken places. You redact the impossible hands. You fill the melted architecture with your own invented geometry. An artist named Joe Hedges is doing something similar. He writes about the tension between the human hand and the machine, but you go further. You stop fixing the errors. You start chasing them. You fine-tune models with Dream Booth, feeding them only 20 images of your worst, most accidental paintings. The model learns your failures better than your successes. Dream Booth and LoRa are techniques that let anyone fine-tune a model with as few as 5 to 20 images. The result is a LoRa file, small and shareable, which captures a style as pure mathematics. Once shared on platforms like Civet AI, that style exists independently of any human body or biography forever. You upload your LoRa to Civet AI, where over 100,000 community models already live and breathe and mutate. Someone in Sao Paulo downloads your style. Someone in Osaka mixes it with a medieval manuscript, LoRa. Your cathedral windows now bleed into Japanese calligraphy. You feel nothing like theft. You feel like your paintings are finally having conversations you could never have alone. The Vienna collector calls and asks if you will disavow these derivatives. You laugh and hang up the phone. Roland Barthes wrote in 1967 that a text's meaning is born in the reader, not the author. He called it the death of the author. What Jaromira discovered was that open source AI made that death literal and irreversible and beautiful. But there is another world running parallel to yours, dear child. The corporations build their own cathedrals. OpenAI's DALA refuses your prompts. Midjourney bans your words. Google's Gemini hallucinates black Nazi soldiers because its safety filters overcorrect so violently that history itself warps. These companies do not want chaos. They want clean, sellable, liability-free images. They want the French salon of the 18th century where institutional gatekeepers decided what counted as legitimate. Only now the gatekeeper is not a bearded academician, but an algorithm trained on corporate anxiety. Corporate AI models form a closed system. The company controls the weights, the filters, and the outputs. Open source models form an open system. Once weights are released, they cannot be recalled or forced to update. This is the fundamental split between the corporate cage and the medium of chaos. You watch this split widen. Biden's executive order in October 2023 requires developers of massive models to report to the government. The EU AI Act in March 2024 exempts certain open source models unless they cross a threshold of computing power. Regulation wraps around the big players like a fist, but when Meta releases Llama weights restricted to researchers, the weights leak within a single week. This is the lesson you already knew in your bones. Once the mathematics is free, it cannot be unfree again. It is the first truly irreversible act of aesthetic detournement.
Detournement?
The Situationists coined this word in the 1950s. It means taking the tools of the system and turning them against the system. Guy Debord would have loved open source AI, I think, though he would have been too proud to say so. You give a talk in Berlin. Someone in the audience asks about authenticity. You tell them about the Chauvet cave paintings, 36,000 years old, where multiple hands painted across centuries, no signatures, no provenance, no individual claiming ownership of the bison on the wall. Art was a shared hallucination, then you say. Latent space is the same kind of territory. Every point in that 4x64 by 64 dimensional manifold is a potential image equidistant from every other. No single point has more inherent value. Authorship is replaced by navigation. You are not a creator anymore. You are a traveler. Latent diffusion models operate in a compressed mathematical space, not in pixels. Every point in latent space is a potential image that has never been rendered. Moving between points produces smooth transitions, meaning infinite images exist as possibilities waiting to be found. The audience is quiet. A young painter in the third row looks stricken, and you recognize that look. It is the look you had when you sold your first painting and felt the lock click. You tell her about Luigi Russolo, the futurist who wrote in 1913 that with enough new machines, we would distinguish 30,000 different noises. He did not want to imitate the world. He wanted to combine sounds according to imagination. You say the same thing is happening now with images. The flood is not a drowning. The flood is a language being born. Michael Betancourt wrote about glitch art as a formal practice. Rosa Menkman built a whole philosophy around intentional digital disruption. What Jaromira adds to their work is the insistence that the glitch is not decoration. It is resistance against commodification. You go home to Prague. Your studio still smells faintly of linseed oil, but the canvases now show things no single hand could make, melting geometries, colors that shift when you look at them too long, pixelation blooming like mold across sacred architecture. These are not products. No collector can hang them with confidence because they will not stay still. They resist the frame, they resist the signature, they resist the $67 billion machine that turns dreams into assets. Walter Benjamin warned in 1935 that mechanical reproduction would strip art of its aura, its unique presence in time and space. You think he was half right? The aura died? Yes, but something else was born in its place, not the aura of the object, but the aura of the process, the wandering through latent space, the accident that nobody authored, the glitch that signifies nothing except the raw truth of the medium. You stop calling yourself a painter. You stop calling yourself an artist. You call yourself a navigator of shared dreams. You see the ugly outputs, the melting fingers, the bleeding walls. Those are the only parts that cannot be sold as product. They are the ghost in the machine showing its face. And that ghost, dear one, is more honest than any gallery wall I have ever stood before. Your last exhibition is not in a gallery. It is a folder shared on a decentralized server containing your trained models, your LoRa's, your prompts, your accidents. Anyone can open it. Anyone can continue the conversation. The cathedrals keep building themselves in bedrooms across the world. You did not make them. You did not own them. You just opened the door and let the dreaming through. Jaromira understood what the market never could. That art before commerce was a communal fire, a cave wall touched by many hands across centuries. Open source AI does not kill art. It kills the cage around art and lets the old wildness back in. Subscribe to witness more world-making events. And remember, if your AI-generated image has perfect hands, you're probably still inside the corporate cage.